PEAL within your critical essay writing? First of all, it's really important to know is that critical essay writing is just a piece of writing which answers a question about literature, and it shows that you understand it, you can analyse it, and that you can also evaluate its successfulness. Okay, the essay structure, you should always have an introduction where you introduce your reader to what the rest of your essay is going to be about, a body which is made out of 3 main points using PEAL to help you structure your paragraphs, each paragraph containing a point, evidence, analysis and link. And finally the conclusion, the final part of your essay, which recaps your main points and offers some of your personal opinion. Very important there. No new ideas are introduced here. And that is the structure of your essay. Obviously the introduction, I'm not going to spend so much time on this because it is really PEAL, but your introduction is obviously a very important part of the essay. Always mention your title and author in the introduction. Make sure that you rephrase it in your own words to show that you're engaging with it so that the examiner can see you understand and is getting some of your personal opinion across. As I've always said, an examiner will always have an idea what grade a paper is likely to get after reading the introduction only. So you must make sure that your introduction's of the highest quality and it really grabs your reader's attention. You don't want the examiner to read your introduction, think it's probably a C or a D grade, and then you're really fighting to convince him or her that you're worthy of an A or a B. So start off well as you mean to go on. Briefly mention the 3 main points that you're going to develop in your essay in your introduction and make your reader want to continue reading. Now this is where PEAL comes into play, okay? Each paragraph within your body, you should have about between 3 and 5 paragraphs in the body of your essay. Your body, remember, is the part in the middle, not the introduction and not the conclusion. All the paragraphs within it are called the body. And first of all, you've got your point. Each point should help you to answer the essay question, and you should be able to sum up your point in your topic sentence. Remember, topic sentence being the first line of each paragraph, it should be the point you're making summed up in 1 sentence, no more than 2, and the reader should be able to read it and understand what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. So your point should be exactly that. It's a point that you are making. Always, always try to answer the question in your point. The point sums up what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. And really the point is quite simply the whole point in you writing the paragraph in the first time. Writing the paragraph to help you answer the essay question. So the point, simple as that, the reader should be able to read your point and know what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. No more than 2 sentences long, and if your point isn't relevant or linked to the question, then it's not worth putting in the essay as you'll get no marks for it. The evidence. Evidence should almost always be in the form of a quote. Always quote the parts of sentences or sentences which words you have not written. By that I mean any ideas, any words, any text that are not your own, anything that you are copying from another book, web page, a critical essay, anything like that, you must always quote. Otherwise it's plagiarism and you can be disqualified from your future exams. No more than 1 or 2, if you have to, sentences should be quoted. Really do not be quoting huge paragraphs. It is not worth it. 2 sentences maximum, and make sure that they're really relevant to the question and link with it. Really ask yourself, is this the best example that I can find within the text that helps me to back up my point? If the answer is no, you need to find a better quote. It should help to prove the point you're making, and it should be an example, as I said, which backs up your point. If it doesn't make sense or if it isn't relevant, don't quote it, you could lose marks. Analysis. This is the part that everybody finds hard, but is really the thing that we do most when we have discussion in English, when we analyse an idea or a piece of text or a line or a concept. Analysis is quite simply when you analyse the point that you're making, and you should also make sure that you use the quote to back up what you're saying in your point. Your analysis really just is analysing the quote that you've made, picking out on a couple of individual words possibly, and explaining why they are significant, why they're important, and what they suggest, why it helps to really form your point, what they suggest about your point, and it helps to explain it. That is what your analysis is, talking about what the quote suggests and then how it helps you to prove your point. Always develop your point in most depth during the analysis. When you analyse something, you're breaking your point down into parts. Think of it that way. You're breaking your main point down into parts and thinking about the different possible meanings it might have to back up your analysis. Finally, link, the thing that everybody finds difficult but is actually, in all truth, the most easiest part of writing a critical essay. All you're doing quite simply is linking it back to the original question. For example, if the question had been, how does a writer suggest that the character is psychopathic through the use of his language, then obviously you're going to be looking at the language the writer uses, which helps to create the impression that this character is psychotic. Simple as that. You are going through it and you are looking for specific language. So you would quote a good line which really shows the quote that the character is psychotic. Could be a line from the character themselves, or it could be, if it's written in third person narrative, a line that the writer has written. Either way, with your quote, you might want to zoom in on specific words and really think of the different connotations of each word, the different possibilities that a certain word might have, and how that might change the meaning of your analysis. Make sure that you make clear to yourself and your reader what you're talking about, and always, as always, make sure that it's relevant to the question. And really, the first line of the next paragraph should also link back to your final linking sentence of the previous one. By that, I just mean that your final line in a paragraph and the first line of a new paragraph, you should try to get to link together, as it makes an essay more fluent and easier to read for your reader. And that is how you use PEAL within a body. Finally, you've got the conclusion to think about. It sums up what you've discussed in your essay. It recaps your main points and analysis. Make sure it's not too similar to your introduction. Vary your writing. Always offer your own personal opinion when you're writing your conclusion. Give it a personal response to how you enjoyed it. It really shows to the examiner, the person who's marking your essay, that not only have you understood the text that you're discussing, but you've also engaging with it. You're showing if you've enjoyed it. Conversely, you can also explain why you've not enjoyed it and what would have made it more effective. Please, please, please do not say, I like this poem, or I like this play, or I like this book, because it's far, far, far too babyish and it sounds like a primary school book review. You're in secondary school now, you're writing critical essays. You should use the most complex and well-formed language that you can to really put across your point. Remember, if you can think something's been ineffective as well, if you don't think something's been done well, you can say that. You don't always have to agree with the writer, as long as you've got points, evidence, and analysis to back up your points. Finally, make sure that you proofread your work before handing it in. Make sure it all makes sense. Make sure that there's no little Spanishisms in there, any sentences which don't quite make sense because words are in the wrong order. Get somebody else to listen to you reading it as well. Read it out loud. That's really the easiest way for you to see if you are making sense within your essays. You could even record it onto your mobile phone and listen to yourself reading it back. It's a really, really good way for you to identify any mistakes within your sentence construction which you can fix. Make sure your paragraphs are all linked together. Each paragraph begins with a topic sentence, and that you've followed all the previous steps and done your best. If you've done that, you will get a big thumbs up. And that is how to use PEAL. Any questions? Obviously, come and speak to me in class.